G'day guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Tim, and on today's episode we're taking a look at Bitcoin and the Bitcoin dominance over history, and we're trying to see if there's any clues that we can see in the dominance that may tell us where Bitcoin is headed into the future. Alright, so let's get stuck in and have a look. So first of all, what I've got on the screen here is the major cycles for Bitcoin. So we've got the 2013 peak here, 2017 peak here, and the 2021 peak so far over here. And I've overlaid the Bitcoin dominance in purple. So the first thing I'd like to draw your attention to right here is this box. And this is Bitcoin going back to even 2010 or so. And at this point, Bitcoin was essentially 100%. There wasn't really an altcoin season back in those days. And it wasn't until February 2017 that we started to see the Bitcoin dominance actually move away from being 100%. So it was right at this point right here. So you can see it was halfway up the mountain in 2017. And that's when the Bitcoin dominance started to move, meaning that some of the liquidity was actually flowing into the altcoins instead. I've marked the peaks here for Bitcoin dominance from 2017, 2019, and 2021. And the first obvious thing is that it doesn't line up exactly with the peaks. So if we have a look at the 2017 peak, if I just zoom out, I'll spread it out wide here like this, you can see that the peak here, when Bitcoin dominance was around the 70%, it was maybe 72% at that peak, that was actually prior to the actual peak of the price. So it was about a week or so prior. And you'll see a similar thing in 2019. So Bitcoin dominance peaked right here around the 5th, or what was it, the 2nd of September 2019. But you can see the peak was way back here in June. So there isn't a direct correlation between the Bitcoin peaks and the dominance. And then if we look again in 2021, the Bitcoin dominance actually peaked here again around that 70%, maybe 71%. And that was way back here at the end of 2020. It was way back before even this 40K peak we had here, and even way before we had the peaks here in April. So that's an interesting observation that Bitcoin dominance does not correlate with the peaks of the price action. So the next thing I'd like to draw your attention to is this trading range here that I've identified for the Bitcoin dominance. So you can see that moving back right until around July 2017, Bitcoin has been trading in this range here between around 37% dominance and 70% dominance. And at the end of the 2017 peak, as we started to go into more bearish times, it was trading right here in this 37 to 50% range. So really the bottom of this trading range. And then as we got into the real bear market, the crypto winter right through here, it was around the 50 to 60% range. And then it increased to in this top range here around 58 to 70% right from, this is June 2019, right until April in 2021. So that was the actual peak. So Bitcoin was staying in this 58 to 70% dominance range through that entire period, which is really interesting. You've got bearish times, you've got some of the bearish times, you've got a 2019 peak, you've got the COVID crash, you've got this huge run up, you've got the major peaks, and it stayed in that 10 to 12% range. And now, since April, we've gone down to the bottom part of this 70% to 37% trading range. So you can see very similar to 2017, when things started to get bearish after the peak, Bitcoin was trading in this trading range down here at the bottom of the range. And again, we've been trading in that same space as well here in 2021. So what can we conclude about the Bitcoin dominance in this chart? Well, we have established that there is a very clear range that we're trading within, around 37% to 70%. And it appears after these major peaks, we tend to spend time at the bottom of the trading range. And then we start to progress in the middle of the range. And then we move up to the top of the range. And then we move back down again. And now, we don't have a lot of data here to go by. This has all happened since the end of 2017. So what happens next, we don't really know. But looking back at the 2017-2018 cycle, and bear in mind that is only one data point to go by, if we start seeing the Bitcoin dominance start to increase around like this region here, it's probably a sign that we're following a similar pattern to what's happened in the past. It'll be very interesting to see over time whether Bitcoin ever breaks out of this trading range. But so far, we have stayed within this trend line for over 4 years. So if we do break above or below, then it is a fairly significant change. So the Bitcoin dominance is just one of the indicators that we can keep an eye on to help give us some clues about where we are in the current cycle and what Bitcoin is doing versus what the alts are doing. We'll have to just monitor it over the coming months. But if we do break out, that'll be a very significant change, something that we haven't done for over 4 years. So anyway, let's keep monitoring what this does. It'll be very interesting. I hope you're enjoying the content. If you've got any ideas for content, please let me know. Feel free to subscribe, like the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter at TechnicalTimCR1. So until next time, I'm Tim, and cheers.